Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Luke Marek Show. This is a place where we can come and find purpose and meaning to your life based off of real stories from real people. So short and sweet, I'm Luke Marek, and today my friend that's here with me, some of you may have seen him, some of you may have not. He runs a couple of interesting podcasts. They say The Food Fight, probably one of the biggest ones.
Mhm.
And Brian's got some really great stories we're going to get into, life stories that we can all get into, but let just Brian introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is Brian DiMattei. I'm the host of Food Fight Podcast. Think about renaming it the DiMattei's Food Fight Podcast. It makes sense. And I'm also the creator of DiMattei's Food Fight on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's my way of taking my 20 plus years in the restaurant business and not working in the restaurant business anymore, but still bringing light to the great food scene that we have here in NEPA and beyond that as well.
Awesome.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
So that's where you're at.
now.
You got you're doing Food Fight.
Mhm.
What pushed you to Food Fight, or what kind of changed in your life and brought you there?
Definitely. Well, what brought me to Food Fight was my restaurant background.
Okay.
All right. So 20-some years in the restaurant, people always make comments like, "Who's this bozo? What credentials does he have?" I'm like, well,
This guy's an MM. He's
yeah,
at the good
MMA
tree.
guy. I'm like, listen, I get where they're coming from, but like anybody, I don't need to be a straight A student or a rocket scientist or
to eat
a professional athlete to let you know if this pizza or this cheeseburger is good, right? I mean, either it is or it isn't. You go decide yourself. I consider myself a food blogger, not a food reviewer. There's a little bit. Do I say reviews? Yes, but I'm a blogger.
Yeah.
I'm a blogger. Jim Maribelli, he's a pizza reviewer.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jim. He's a pizza reviewer. He'll tell you why that pizza's good.
Yeah.
Why
Did you ever break down the dough?
All
sauce,
those pizza
the
guys
yeast that they used in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All those pizza guys they're like that. I'm learning from them, but I'm still going to say, hey, this is good.
Or it's not good.
Right, so before that, where my bad habit, I picked up a lot of bad habits working in the restaurant business. As sad as it is, the kitchens, the culture of the restaurant business, there's two different cultures. It's the group where you go into work and you leave.
Yeah.
The other culture where you stay. Mm-hmm. You may not be at that restaurant,
but you're staying.
You're with the crew. You're hanging out every single night. There's parties. There's drinking, right? And you get caught up in that. And I get it. You're young. You're 18. You're 19. Maybe in your 20s.
Good money.
Pocket full of money.
Good money. Tips.
There's
cash.
a lot of
always
places,
cash in your pocket.
Yep, there's a lot of spots to hang out in. And there's a lot of late nights.
Yep.
But a lot of late nights come a lot of temptations. And you're grown adults. We all are. We can make our own decisions. But I like a little bit of chaos in my life. So when I found marijuana when I was 13, 14 years old, smoking that joint behind Dunkin' Donuts in Old Forge, behind in the alley, I was like, whoa, this is fun. I got nothing else to do now. It's the off season for football. Let me do this every night. So we go out, back in the day in Old Forge, you'd be like, let's go up the road. Going up the road meant, everyone from, you walk up and down Main Street.
Yeah. It was like
cruising,
but walking the beat.
Yeah. Well, you'd be sitting, watching everybody cruising.
And you're like,
when I get my license, how many cars did I buy in my head? Right? Yeah. What a great time. We go smoke and we go hang out. Doesn't seem that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Not hurting anybody.
It honestly wasn't. If it just stayed that, it wasn't that bad. Right? But then the cigarette started smoking. I took from the cigarette. Stole cool off my father. That was it. I was a Newport smoker my whole life. I could taste that cool right now. So we go do that, and we be smoking pot, and we be drinking on the weekends. We steal bottles of vodka from the cabinets, and we go camping, and we hang out until one of us threw up because we didn't know 8 shots of vodka was going to make kill us.
Yeah.
Not like, I don't feel anything after 3 shots, not realizing
give it a time. Give it a sec.
We never learned our lesson. So all of that started at a younger point. I enjoyed it, but I never woke up to it yet. You know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
I didn't wake up to my addiction yet. And then I smoked and I drank, and we dove in Darvocets and Valiums and Vicodins and Xanax in high school and all that kind of stuff. And then we'd be taking acid on the weekends. And then, then I got a little older and we discovered cocaine, and we discovered what you could do with cocaine. Like I told you, that lady wanted to sell me a crack pipe last night.
Add this to stuff. Yeah.
So we could break this down and do what? We didn't do much of that, which is thank God. Again, cocaine was fun, but I hated it more than I liked it because it drove me crazy once I was done with it. And my friends knew I liked it, so they would get it, And I'd be buying the bag at midnight. You know what I mean? But like, again, weekend stuff, ecstasy, weekend stuff. And if anybody I don't mean to glorify anything at all, but I just like talking about it once in a
You
while.
explain what it was glorified at the time.
People ask me, "Oh, what's ecstasy?" Like MD, whatever the letters are. I go, the only one way to explain it, honestly, is like God's literally on your shoulder, telling you, "Having a great time, aren't we?" That's what it's like.
Yeah.
There's no other way to
do anything you want.
There's no other way to explain it. And all that was great, but I always worked. I always had to go to work Saturday and Sunday. Shout out to Marvelous Muds back in the day of music, keeping me kind of on the track and money in my pocket, right? So I graduate high school. We're doing all this, that, and the other stuff, weekend stuff. I was always working. Had some good relationships with women, and when I was younger, that kept me away from the bad scene. I wanted to be respectful to them. It's funny. I dated this girl for over 3 years. I was a cigarette smoker all 3 years. Never smoked a cigarette in front of her in 3 years. I'm not realizing.
A gentleman.
Yeah, like I smelled like I'm not realizing now. Like I quit cigarettes for a long time. I smelled like that the whole time. You know, I was like,
she was. You weren't pulling one over on her just because you didn't do it in front of her.
Exactly. You know, but this is what I didn't actually like. How much of a smoker was I? You know. Anyways, so all that stuff was fine and dandy. It was great until I hurt my back deadlifting, and the new job I took. There were more painkillers than there were food in the restaurant. And start off with 2 or 3, get through the shift. Even 1 at that time, get through the shift. Another 1, get through the shift. Now it's like, let me get to the shift.
Yeah.
Let me
get through life.
Let me relax after the shift now. Go play those slot. I bet that slot machine will be a lot better with a Vicodin in my system, a Miller Lite, and a cigarette. I worked at the casino when the restaurant was the casino. So that was my 5 nights a week. So now we got the gambling addiction rolling, which I didn't think of addiction because I was making so much money, but I could have bought a house. The money I spent on drugs and gambling that year and a half I worked at that job in the casino, man, oh man, oh man. Then I left that job. I went somewhere else, and then my drug dealer introduced some new drugs to me. At this point, I was eating 35 to 40 Vicodin a day. Just to not be sick.
Yeah,
because I wasn't even enjoying myself anymore. And people are like, "I'll sell you some OxyContin." I grew up in the OxyContin craze, early 2000s. Like you watch those documentaries now on Netflix and everything like that, where they talk about the opiate epidemic, how OxyContin was the cause of that.
Yeah.
I've lived that. They were all over the place. They were falling out of people's pockets. And they're so dangerous.
Oh, and the doctors were writing them off like crazy, so it was easy.
So dangerous.
Everybody had a hookup, send somebody there and buy your whole script off.
And nobody knew it too. The underlining one right behind that was Xanax and Valiums and Klonopins, So I'm in my early 20s now. We're snorting OxyContin, all that kind of stuff, right? But I got sick off of one, so I had that I didn't eat Porchetta for 20 years. So I got sick off a Porchetta sandwich. Even a barbecue ribs.
Yeah.
Got sick for 20 years. I didn't eat for 20 years. I eat all that stuff now, but OxyContin was still in my mind. Like, if I take one of those, I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
So let me eat 40 Vicodin instead. Thousands of dollars a month I spent on them.
And, but when you're making that much money,
it was just in one hand out the other, partying. Went to buy drugs. This is where there was a big shift in my addiction. I went to buy pills off of my dealer. He gave me Suboxone instead. Whether it was his new drug of choice or he just was really worried about me, whatever it was, right? So the Suboxone, if anyone that's listening, that's given to heroin addicts to get them off heroin.
That's your walk down.
It blocks you down. It blocks you out. Also overprescribed and too long prescribed. People are on it for years. You don't need to be on that long. I'm not a drug expert, but I'm a drug expert.
I've been around people with that, and I've seen them get hooked on the Suboxone instead.
So, beyond my surprise and his, the Suboxone got me higher than the pills. So a little nibble of the Suboxone pill, I felt like I just ate opiate for the first time. So I ran with that for over a year and a half. I had a little methadone addiction in between there. I couldn't get the Suboxone. I was drinking liquid methadone from people coming to take homes. Yeah. It was fucking insane. That's the only one. It was insane.
You're all right.
It was absolutely insane. And I just kept on doing it. And then one morning I woke up. I finally moved out of my mother's house. Finally got my own place. And then my addiction is like, oh, we have this whole new space to take advantage of now. So the one morning I woke up and the Suboxone leveled my addiction out, as crazy as that sounds. I always had it. I always had a little bit of strip. I always felt the same way every single day. and I was eating Xanax. It was crazy life I was living. At this point, I was working at Red Lobster in their program for management and stuff like that. It wasn't the best thing in the world. But I woke up one day and the Suboxone stopped working, stopped getting me high. Took another one. I'm like, oh my God, I'm frantic. It's kind of like an alcoholic drinking beer and not getting drunk.
Yeah. So I need something. I need something strong.
So now I'm not getting sick from the Xanax. I take more Xanax. I supposed to maybe go back to smoking pot. I wasn't getting that satisfaction. I know how to react and be normal. And like I always said, I got my to before, God will put things in your life. So with the devil. The devil came up and goes, hey, how about some Adderall? You've been slowed down for years.
Yeah.
You want to pick
This
me up?
little upper.
And I took that. I was
the new drug of choice.
I was speeding for the next year and a half of my life. Lost tons of weight, up for 3-4 days in a row, constant circle. 3-4 days. I got out of the restaurant business. I get into the casino business now. I'm working as a dealer at the casino. For the first 9 months I was there, full-blown Adderall addiction. I don't know how I made it through school to become a dealer, but I worked late nights, and you could cover, when you worked at 3-4 in the morning, you could cover up being tired in the daytime.
Yeah, because you're third shift. Of course I'm tired.
Used to it, Mom. You know, and it's just like all this crazy stuff going on. And then January of 15, I got a DUI January 3rd, up from New Year's Eve. I drove my car into the lamp factory on 315 there. Don't know how I got there. I know I was in Toys R Us parking lot. Next thing I know, I was in the ambulance being arrested. Called my mother. She's sitting there in the hospital with me. All I had to say was, Mom, I need help. This is not because I was tired, because I was on a 3-day bender and I shouldn't have been driving. Yeah. This is why it happened. Instead, I'm tired. She's like, I know. I work those hours too. And God bless her.
You think she knew?
My brother tried telling her. My friends tried telling her, but no, she didn't want to know.
I was just about to say.
She didn't want to know.
I know from my parents, they know. As a parent now, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
But we don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And we want to hope that you get out of it on your own, because even when you were doing stuff, we never listen to our parents. But when a friend comes to you finally, or somebody really brings it up in your face, or you end up in that accident, that's what brings you around.
It's easy. It was easy for her to believe the crazy hours of working story because she did it too.
Yeah.
That was new to it, right? So that was January. 2 months later, I got the DUI papers in the mail. So I was like scrambling. I was like, so long story short, we're getting to the meat and potatoes now, and I was writing out that I was going to start ARD in September. So we're at June now in the summer, and I'm on ROR bail for Luzerne County. I'm out ripping and running still, doing crazy stuff, hanging out with these people, shoplifting, all this crazy stuff. And I ruined my eBay business by my addiction. I had a great eBay business. I sold wrestling figures, all types of figures, collectibles, huge eBay business. And I ruined it all from the end of my addiction, from not shipping stuff, double selling stuff. eBay's like pretty much like, you're done.
You're done. Yeah, you're done. You got enough negative reviews.
Yeah. So it was just like, oh my God, right? And then finally, one morning, I decided to go to Mount Airy Casino with somebody, and that's when I crashed out. I came home. Instead of going to my place, I kicked out of Mount Airy, still banned for life up there. And I came home, instead of going to my apartment, I went to my neighbor's house, and she's an Old Forge police officer.
Is that where you were telling me a story? I think when we were sitting together on a podcast, you were telling me you went in and you stole her garbage can.
I stole stuff out of her shed, put it on the ground. I went to I tried getting to her house. Before that, I went into my landlord's basement, Mary Ellen, who is like my second mother, who knew my whole life. Took a garbage can and a Yankee bath mat out of there. And that's when I got arrested with walking down the street at gunpoint by my neighbor. Crazy. Brian's going crazy. The neighborhood I grew up in. Those streets, I ran around at 5 years old, 6 years old, whole life. So everyone knew me. Yeah. So how to get in bed, to get it put down there, it couldn't have been a better place. Yeah. So it could have been up in Mount Airy.
You're not going to hide it anywhere.
Could have been up in Mount Airy. Could have been state troopers that didn't care about me. Instead it was, they don't not care about me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like
personal connection.
I got arrested by people that I grew up with. Like chief of police, like Brian, what the hell is the matter with? I play football with him. And I go, I'm done. Surrender. The white flag is up. I need help. And I was messed up when I was asking for the help. Up for days. I need help. That was it. I went to jail for the night. That was an experience. woke up, came to, realized exactly where I was, and I said to myself, okay, I'm never coming back here. I got out, went to rehab, and I paid my penance ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got lucky. I got put on treatment court. My DUI ran same time with that. I lost my license for a year. I was on treatment court for years. I had to be kind of like you're in jail, but you weren't in jail. Kept me out of jail. And I played ball, and I'm like, whatever you want. I did everything they told me to do, one day at a time. That phrase too, never want to hear it. It's not stupid. Don't. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. When you live it, and you have to live that way, one day at a time really will save your life.
Yeah.
And just asking God to please get me through this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
That's what got me to getting sober, getting out of trouble, and getting my life together. And then I found MMA 7 years ago, and then maybe that set me up to find certain things in my life that got me on like certain podcasts years ago, and decided to make a food page because I love food, and I showed that Pizza Hut review in Kingston at one time, and people were like, "What's going on with that Pizza Hut?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe I'll just keep on telling people about it."
Stuff.
And then next thing you know, I do a pizza review where I'm not eating the pizza at all, just showing it, and it wasn't focused, and I was talking too much, and I kept on saying, "Hey, what's up, everyone?" My friend Eric's like, "Stop saying that." Just get right into it. So like the evolution of that has been a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
But the evolution of my life has been interesting. The last couple of months have been even more interesting.
I think it's kind of nice that what if you think about it, where you came from is where you are now, just without the drugs.
Yeah.
Because you're a very personable guy.
Mm-hmm.
You like to be connected with people. You were in the restaurant business. You're still kind of in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And you're still able to do that. But now you found a positive way to bleed it out and reflect to people, and to get other people to notice it too.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sitting down, because this is totally different than talking about food.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about food. I got a restaurant background.
Sure.
You got a restaurant background, but we also share having a background of addiction, and that addiction can look different for people. I mean, you talked about, the drug part of it, whether it was prescription drug or marijuana or cocaine. Yeah. There's people that have addictions to totally different things. Narcissism is an addiction that people have, the way that they lie. We had a gentleman on the other day that it was a pastor friend of mine, and he talked about anger. He's like, we don't talk about anger. He goes, men, we're angry, and we don't know how to deliver it sometimes. And especially if you're in a relationship, or if you're married, and you come across with that anger, or you don't know how to deliver it, that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So addictions play in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be a medical dependency. You talked about the gym. The gym was your addiction, where it was unhealthy because you were like, oh my gosh, you mentioned, I think before we even started recording was, if I have a cookie, I better get to the gym. Yeah. Bring it to the gym. I'm going to do this, and it's like, all right, well, I don't have to do that.
I realized 10 years later that I was being crazy.
And I think even go back
to from that.
13 years old, smoking pot, you're going, who am I bothering? Who are you bothering? Nobody at the moment, because you don't have responsibility.
Right.
You're not behind a 2,000-pound vehicle that you're going to end up hurting somebody.
Yeah, it's very fair.
You're walking the streets. So at that time, sure. And just like anything, wherever children are, whether it's good or bad, that's where people start. At church, we love to invest in our children because we want to show them good, and we want to build them up from there. We don't want them to get wrapped into something. But on the opposite side, if you believe in good, you have to believe in evil as well. And just like you said, God sends stuff down to you, and the devil comes up too.
Comes up and puts it away, and throws that inside, and it's like, oh,
yeah. Nice. And the devil's going to do the same thing, and somebody's going to send somebody in, and they're going to get them when they're young. Like you said, at 13, who are you bothering?
Right.
Going playing football, playing baseball, whatever, going to the gym. Who am I bothering? Having a little bit of weed. But now, then you get, it's birds of a feather flock together. My father told me that when I was 10 years old. It stuck with me ever since. Never understood it when I was 10 years old. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. And back in the day, I went and got my hair cut. I told this story once before. I went and got my hair cut with Tracks, like Vanilla Ice.
You told me that.
And I came home and my father was like, what is that? Go get it. Go get it fixed, And at that time, I was cutting grass for like $5 a lawn. And, I'm like, I don't have money. He goes, I don't care. You go and do it. And because birds of a feather flock together, I'm like, I don't know what that means. What are you telling me? And that's what it was. If it, doesn't mean that your haircut's going to put you someplace, but if you start hanging around with a bad group and start doing things, it starts happening. The restaurant business, like you said, there's groups that I've seen them. I've been a manager.
To be with.
There's people that get done and they leave, and they've got their life together. And then you see, I was one. I stayed late, went out with everybody, new friends that had bars. Door gets locked at 2:00, but you're still there until 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, doing whatever, and then you just go down a bad path. Doesn't have to be that way, but we all make choices.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you got to hit rock bottom sometimes. You know, like you said, there's a group that doesn't stick around at the restaurant and do that. They go home.
Yes.
They're responsible.
Yeah.
But we're all different. Doesn't make us bad. You know, we're just all different, and you got to make better choices. You know, you got to
Completely agree.
Be able to look at things a little bit different.
You got the responsibility sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned about DUI and responsibility. I had a DUI, and you talked about ARD. Not that I think that actually I shouldn't say it's not that I'm not going to apologize. I think the system's totally broken. I think a lot of people that get DUIs have problems. It's not just because, you were out on a Christmas Eve party and you got, whatever. A lot of people have addictions. When I had my DUI, they offered the ARD, and the first thing that the guy said when we went in there was, "I'm not here to stop you from drinking. I'm here to stop you from drinking and driving." And I'm like, dude, but I've got a problem. Like, even back then, I knew I had a problem. It's like, I got a problem. I don't. At the time of being drunk, after being a bottle or two in, the last thing I'm thinking is driving's a bad idea.
Right.
I'm not thinking anything.
You were like maybe a couple points over.
Yeah.
You maybe misjudged, but when you've fucked up. You know when you're drunk.
But it's, you make stupid decisions. I'm not making good decisions then. I made bad decisions sober, let alone make them, when I'm intoxicated. But that's where the system's broken. They're just, we just need to get you through this program, and how many people? Oh, you go through ARD. I would love them to check and see how many people went through ARD, got their second DUI, got their third DUI, got their fourth DUI. I worked with a guy who was on his fifth.
That's a good point.
Lost his license, had to have one of those
blocks.
The system that you have to blow into your car. And they figured those out real quick, because then they would have friends blow in. They'd have you got to imagine having a friend that's a designated driver that doesn't drink, blow into your car and let you drive. That's not a friend.
I agree.
That's not a friend.
I agree.
Okay, that guy doesn't care about you.
I agree.
Now the systems, the car prompts you as you're driving.
Yeah.
Because they got wise to that people were blowing fresh breath.
You got to constantly do it.
So
right
every whatever mile, 2 miles, it's random, so that you have to stop or the car shuts off, and then they call your PO or whatever. So you got guys, they got to pay thousands of dollars to have those systems. I've guys that get DUIs with those in their car. There's a problem. It's there's an addiction. When I was in prison, I remember seeing guys come in there like it was a hotel. They're like, "Hey, Brian, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while." And it's like, this is a problem. This is treated like, and a lot of them don't have money. They got addictions. Guys are getting thrown in there. And I'm not, again, belittling the system with why people get, in trouble, because sometimes if you don't get arrested, you don't hit that rock bottom, you're not going to fix yourself. You need that slap in the face. But there's guys getting thrown in there for, again, not belittling things, for just having a joint, or they didn't pay child support for 2 months. So they're getting thrown in. You're hogging up the system for stupid stuff. But if you had rehabilitation, that part, when I was in prison, they had all kinds of things. One of the things that I look forward to, because I got saved before I went to prison. So they had a Bible study on Tuesday nights. And I'm like, Bible study, this is great. I got a Bible, because they give you a Bible in prison if you ask, so everybody always had a Bible. And I'm like, this is great. I'm in here with a bunch of Christians, No, the biggest thing about a Bible was the pages are so thin, they roll nice joints.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is...
we did that once a month.
It's so true. I never knew that. I mean, by that time, I was like, all right, but it's like the pages in a Bible is what people were using them for. So I'm going to a Tuesday night Bible study thinking I'm going to go sit down with a bunch of Christians. We're going to have a good time. These guys were just getting out. They got them out of the cell. That was it.
Yeah,
the same guys when you see them cleaning the roadway. I mean, yeah, they're doing, a job. They're helping out there on the highways and stuff. They're just getting out for the day, man. They don't want to be in anymore. No. They're just trying to get, but there's no rehab. Shouldn't say there's no rehab. There's rehab that's there, doesn't help a lot of people. After I got out, I had to go through a rehab program. We're going to talk about 12-step program. I went through a 12-step program, and the people that I was in there with, every step, you don't move until you obviously graduate the first step. As I graduated to the 12-step, by the time I made it to the 12-step, I was the only guy in there. So we started with like 50 of us.
They all drop out?
everybody has, because once you mess up, you got to start back at
Okay.
you got to start back at step one.
Yeah.
So step one, 50 people. Maybe step two is 50 people. Maybe step three is like 45 people because they mess up. They got to go back to step
Mhm.
one. By the time I was on 12, it was me and the therapist. That was it.
At least it was you.
I was thrilled, and I said, and
It was you.
one of the people that I had to bring with me, I think it was step 5. You had to bring somebody because you had to unload and say,
Mhm.
admit your problems, admit what's going on. I think it was step 5 or step 6. I brought my father, and my father was in there with me, and we talked, and we went through like the program, and said, here's what we're gonna do. And by the time, and I think at that time, maybe there was only 12 of us left, and I'm like, we're halfway through. I'm like, these guys are dropping off like flies, going back, and you'd still see them because you'd still go to class, but you'd be in a different room.
Right.
So I'd go to this, it was county-wide, and I'd go, and the guy that I went up to step 5 with is now back in step 1, and I'm still moving along. And I'm like, buddy, and I try to talk to them, be like, and he's like, they'd be hooked on Suboxones, or they'd be going back into something, and it's like, you can't. They're doing, you're getting breathalyzed every time you walk in. You're getting P-test, to make sure. And if you flag any one of those, either the PO is throwing you back in, or you're going back to step 1. So there's no real consequence to it, and these guys don't care. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
Being on colors was a wake-up call for me. It's colors for a year and a half.
Right.
I had to call every morning.
Yeah.
Call, say pink, coming for a drug test. So, but more motivation. What? Being in jail was motivation enough for me.
Yeah.
I didn't need the color system to stay sober.
Yeah.
I didn't. Was it a good tool? Sure. There was no colors all summer long. I could easily left my house, went to the bar across the street, and got a bottle of whiskey or a bottle of Southern Comfort, something like that. But I fought those urges.
Yeah.
You have to want to get better.
Exactly. We all
have
got
to want to get better.
Yeah.
You have to go to rehab. Oh, I have to go to rehab. No, I want to. I wanted to go to rehab. I couldn't wait to go there. I'm like, I need to be removed from this life.
Yeah.
Talk about people going into prison over and over and over again. There's 2 months not paying child support. You go to jail for a weekend. Isn't that going to make you want to pay that child support?
Yeah, it's not. It's you went in inside your buddies and you hung out for a bit. And the worst part is that those guys that are going in the MO building, all right, they're going in there. Most of them are going in and they're going in with stuff.
Yeah.
So they're going in with drugs to get to their buddies.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, throw me in for a weekend. I'm going to make a couple $, whatever.
The system could definitely be better, but we as people could be better.
I was just about to say.
We have to want to make changes and be better. And we discussed it. We won't get into it, but we discussed, is there levels of forgiveness? How many levels are there?
Yeah.
There's only one. I mean, I forgive people, but then this, like, do I want to see this person again? Do I want to talk to you? Are you too dangerous to be in my life?
Talk about it's forgive and forget.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to forget.
No.
But you've got to, you could always forgive. The Lord tells us to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Lord forgave us. If we can't forgive, then God has no. Anytime you want to forgive somebody, if you can't forgive them, you should always think about what we just talked about. All of our addictions, all of our past, all of our DUIs. Would we like to not? We'd both probably be in prison if we didn't get forgiven for everything. So we got forgiven. We've given a chance. We need to do that for somebody else. The slap in the faces. I think it was. It was one of the President Bush. He used to say, he would always stumble over, and I'm going to stumble over. It was fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
That's fine. You fooled me. You lied to me. I can work with that. Let's work with it. Let's not make it happen again. And then you do it again, and I fall for it again. Well, that's me being an idiot. That's you being rude. That's me being an idiot.
Yeah.
I talked about on one of the recordings. I talked about what's better than a sorry. Not doing the thing that made you say sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
my grandmother used to say, you never have to remember anything if you always tell the truth, because when you lie, it's like, well, who did I tell that to?
Yeah, keep covering it up. It's exhausting.
Yeah, and then it gets the white lie. It gets bigger. It gets bigger. Like heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah.
It gets bigger. But if you always tell the truth, you never have to remember anything.
Exactly.
Because it all just rolls off. But when you lie, then you're like, ooh, did I tell you that? Did I tell you that? This guy.
And people say to you, well, you got forgiven for the things you did in your life. And then your immediate comeback is this. They're not the same.
Yeah.
Does that matter, though? Right? So I'm thinking about that right now. Does that matter?
No.
What makes me being forgiven and me giving a second chance different from your scenario? And ultimately, it's just a different vessel.
By man's law, we can put sin in different levels. Obviously, me lying to you may not feel like a big sin. Me killing your neighbor sounds like a big sin, right? Any sin is removal from God. When Jesus died on the cross and he put his hands out and said it was finished, it is said that God the Father turned away because he couldn't look at his own son because all of the sin of the world was put on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he took that for us. So he has bore our sins. That's what makes us forgiven, that we give our lives to Christ and that we're forgiven. So we're supposed to go out and do the same to others and forgive. But his own Father, 3 in 1, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, turned and couldn't look at Jesus because he was sinful. He wasn't sin. He didn't sin, but he bore the sin of all of us and couldn't even bear that to look. But it was for everybody. He was the sacrificial lamb at that time to take away the sins from everybody from that day forward for every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
But any sin that we cause removes us from him. So we've got to repent. We've got to change. We've got to do that. We're all going to sin. We all sin. Anything that we do every day. You want to slip up in language, or use the Lord's name in vain.
Mm-hmm.
There's been plenty of times my pinky toes hit the edge of the bed that the Lord's name is on the tip of my tongue to come out.
Yeah.
So, and that's a sin. But we're human. That was messed up way back in the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
That we're now in a fallen world. You said it best. The devil is always here bringing stuff up, and he doesn't show up with red horns and a pitchfork.
Yeah.
He shows up with all kinds of things to make it look good to you. And hey, come on.
Someone said to me, "I'm human. Yeah, I deserve. I'm human. I made a mistake." I'm like, yeah, but how many? You make it over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
It's the change. It would be the same thing if you're done with your addiction, and then 5 years from now you start doing it again. It's like, I'm only human. You can't blame me. It's like, yeah, Brian, but do you remember where you were?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, we talk about addiction. I went through alcohol for a long time, and I was sober for probably, I don't think I touched a drink for maybe 5 years. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even touch it. Mm-hmm. And then one day I was like, hey, you know what? I think I was out we went to a wine tasting or something with my wife Gail, and I went there and we're like, oh, well, we'll have a little bit. So we had a couple of tastes, and I'm like, oh, okay. I bought a case of wine and went home with it. I don't even think that case made it a week, and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? And then
sip to a case,
and then it was one thing after another. Then it was, I'll hide it. I'll do this. What kind of alcohol can I have that's like?
Once you start hiding it,
yeah. And then what kind of alcohol can I have that's a little bit better? Hey, you know what's really good? I like iced tea. Boy, they make a lot of iced teas, don't they? That have alcohol in them, So then you find a way to hide it. And until I say that I do this podcast to talk to people and let people know that we're real.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do it more for myself, because if I don't talk about it all the time and I don't get it off my chest, it's going to come to haunt you. People, I'm sure, come to haunt you. You're out there now. You're out all the time on the podcast. You're showing yourself. Mm-hmm. There's probably people out there going, Brian?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Adderall Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, drunk Brian? 3 a.m. drunk Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, not that guy. You don't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
But who better are they? They were right next to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We all change. A
lot of people from those days are dead, or they're better. There's a couple that are the exact same way, which is shocking because they're still alive.
Yeah. You wonder where they're going to go.
They still have a chance.
Are they going to be one of the dead ones, or are they going to be one that
That's
changed?
why I like to talk about, my recovery and everything else you got going on there. Some people don't want to hear it. The ones that know me, they don't want to see or hear it anymore. They heard it enough.
Yeah.
But it's the ones that don't know me, that don't know that they need to hear it yet. One person could hear it.
That's all it is. We say that all the time at church. If you can save one person by
Mm-hmm.
telling your story, then it was worth it.
Yeah.
There was, I think, when you said you were laying in a hospital bed,
Mm-hmm.
or was it in prison?
I got into a car accident. I was a few months sober. Car ran out, stop sign, crushed my car. I was in the hospital. Was laying there to get checked.
So you were sober.
Yeah, I was about 3 months
your
sober.
accident didn't have anything to do with you.
About 3 months sober. They ran out. They hit me. I was on the way to help my friend change her tire in her truck. Maybe the car accident was better. So I got smashed, and I'm in the hospital. I'm just laying there. My back was a little bit sore. I had glasses in my arm. And I'm just laying there. I said to myself, why didn't you just kill me? Why am I still here? What's the reason that I'm still here? I've been a piece of shit the last few years. There's no reason for me to be here. Immediately, you're still alive because you've been wasting the life I gave you. That's why I got the tattoo on my arm. So any moment, from the moment on, from right there, any day I struggle with almost every day, I asked, just get me through this, God. Just get me through this. And that would immediately relax me and calm me for the day. And I made it through that day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. That was my AA does the God story.
Yeah.
That was my God moment. That was my God moment. And some people will say to me is, oh, you gave up on AA. I'm like, what do you mean I gave up on it? You don't go anymore. I'm like, all right. I go, let's take that for an example. You hurt your back. You go for therapy. The doctor tells you your back's 1,000%. Don't need to go to therapy anymore. But, make sure you're aware of what your back was and how you got it there, how you got it better. So make sure make sure you exercise it every day. Make sure you do this every day. Make sure you're doing this, right? You're treating your treatment, right? That's what AA was for me. It was the treatment I needed for, I don't know how long it was, 5-6 years straight. And I decided to remove myself from it. My friend Brian died. That was tough. And we went to AA together. So when he passed away, because I was working the program, he got married, got his fought to get his kid back, and then he had a new marriage, new kid on the way, and he's doing heroin in the bathroom.
Mm.
And his wife finds him there. And I thought to myself, man, I'm going to do it whether I want to or not. That was my mindset. I'm going to do it whether I'm sitting in that room or not. This is where I was at that moment, right? And I'm like, I know where I'm at. And the last place I want to be is in the casket. I had that revolution when I was carrying him down at his wedding 10 days before that. Now I'm carrying his casket down the aisle 10 days later. So I'm thinking about why I'm carrying it. I'm like, doesn't matter where if I want to go back to that life, I'm going to be inside this box. Or I can stay right here and just live the life I want to live now. That was my decision to separate myself from it. Yeah. So it was my saving grace. I wouldn't be here today without AA. And I would bring anyone to an AA meeting. I was just able to separate from it. And then people look at that as a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing that you can't separate yourself from it?
No.
Think about that too. I can play devil's advocate with it. Yeah. But to each their own. I'm not giving anybody a hard time. Why they're still, I understand why
there's some people that do. There's some people that don't.
Yeah.
If they don't go, then the bar is the choice. So if instead of that, then they go there.
So I understand that, and I respect that wholeheartly. I'll never give anyone a hard time. Don't give me a hard time about it either.
Yeah. You can't challenge somebody else's vice. Like I said, I told a story about at church with a friend that was on the worship team up on the stage, and they went out and they were at the casino for dinner. All right, at a restaurant for someone's birthday. Mm-hmm. The pastor said, "Take that picture down," because they put it up on Facebook. And they're like, why? We were just out, at the restaurant. And they're like, because people that come to church, all right, are coming here for a safe place that they're worried about things that they've done wrong. So whether it was a gambling issue, a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, and then you're up on stage, put yourself up like, you're part of the worship team, and then you show that picture. Now, nobody had alcohol. Nobody was doing drugs, but they were in a restaurant that serves alcohol. They were in a casino that has gambling. So somebody sees that, and then if somebody's weak or they have a weak moment, they look at that and they go, well, so-and-so up on the stage, if they're so good, they can go to the restaurant, they can go gambling.
That's fair.
But you can't. Like me, the sip that started my, after 5 years of not drinking, I had a sip, and the next thing I'm drinking a case of booze. How does that happen? Because I can't. All right? Mm-hmm. One little thing. Now, again, somebody could argue that and say, well, maybe just one, you can have, one. Maybe I could.
You don't want to just have one.
Yeah, maybe I could. But I don't want to see where it's going to take me either.
You also, if you just wanted to have one,
you would have had one years ago. Yeah, I wouldn't be in the situation that I am.
Would have had one.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
So, and I tell you, you talk about taking the prescription drugs, and I had a really bad accident at work where I was messed up, and they were giving me all kinds of things. And I didn't like any of them because I didn't like the way it made me feel. I did like it, but not at the same time because I was there. My wife came down. Gail came down, found me on the floor the one morning or at night, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I didn't think there was anything wrong. I'm like, I just wanted to lay down on the cold floor. They're the Percocets that they gave me or the Oxys that they gave me or whatever. Just all I wanted. I was just like happy.
I know.
I just want to lay on the floor.
Believe me, I know.
I just want to lay on this cold floor.
Scratch my back.
And I was like, after she told me that, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want this anymore because I'm like, I could see where this is headed.
Yeah.
But alcohol was my choice.
Mm-hmm.
So my pain, I didn't take the prescription drugs. I took the alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it was a mental thing too. If I couldn't deal with it, like if you and I had a discussion right now and you made me upset and I didn't talk about it or say anything, it'd be like, I'm just going to go to the bar and just have a drink. This will calm my nerves.
I'll talk to my drink.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, your bartender and your barber knows.
Yeah. My
some of
Xanax
that.
addiction, I'd have an anxiety attack, freak out about something. I take a Xanax immediately and feel better immediately. That stuff didn't even make it down my throat yet.
Yeah.
That mindset.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's the mindset.
Overprescribed like it's no one's business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Mhm.
So where do you feel like you're at now? Feel like you're good?
I feel like
How many years? You said 7 years?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, June 15th is the date where I got put down. Yeah, so like I said, I don't have a sober date anymore, but it was June 15th. I'm not stone cold sober like I was for over 7 years, and then I got into the medical marijuana program. Call it whatever you want. I'll cover it up. I do a lot of CBDs for my joints and my body for everything I put through, but I'll take edibles. I'll smoke pot at nighttime. You know what I mean? I do. I used to hide it like it was like I'm hiding candy under the bed. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to be out in the open about it, and people are going to judge me and say what they want. But if they want to say it to my face,
Yeah.
I'm here to say. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
that's half the problem is
Yeah.
if people want to judge because
Yeah.
like this, when you're pointing, how
Yeah.
many of these fingers are
Yeah.
pointing back at you?
Mhm. And occasionally I've had drinks before. I was at the casino a few weeks ago. I had a Corona, and I was just like, it was one Corona. I didn't even finish it, but people might see, there's a food fight guy walking around. No, I don't walk around saying I'm sober.
Yeah.
I don't post my sober date every year. Not that I haven't done that before. I love seeing that. I follow pages so I can see that, and I'm part of those communities because I know what recovery could do for you. I'm living proof
Yeah, you're
of
living
that.
proof of it.
We're right here living proof of that. Everyone's recovery is different. And if you're walking the beaten path and you're not hurting anybody and you're looking to be better every day, your recovery is your recovery. I'm not out there getting drunk. If you see me at a Xanax party,
Maybe take me.
If you see me at a Xanax party or like an opiate party, or if there's an Adderall and there's meth and stuff like that, if I'm at that party,
Really
let's have a problem. There's an issue. No, I'm not. That might make it seem like I'm minimizing it, right? No, I'm not minimizing it. I know where my demons lie, and it's not in the marijuana. It's not in that Corona once in a while. My demons lie in those pills, in those Speedy, those Adderalls, those drugs, those dark alleys, those houses in all these crazy cities I went to. That's where my demons lie, and those are demons I'm not interested in pursuing.
Yeah.
And maybe I became a fighter so I could constantly fight that off every day.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you feel that the MMA has helped you?
It's tremendous. It gave me purpose in my life. It
Yeah.
gave me 7 years ago. I was sitting in. I was able to get in my own apartment again after getting in trouble. I just got my charges dismissed, all that kind of stuff, and I just started. No, actually, charges got dismissed, but I was still waiting for my record to be expunged. And my best friend Rocco Stucchiati, shout out to Rocco. He's a brown belt instructor at the Dunmore location. And he finally got me to come to a seminar. We've been friends for 40 years. Went to a seminar, did some judo, did some MMA, did some Muay Thai, and I joined the next week. I almost quit because some guy half my size was beating the hell out of me. I didn't like that. They explained what the situation was and how he's competing, all this stuff. I'm like, you do competition. So I was able to almost turning 35. I was like 38, 37, I'm 44 now. So to be able to train and compete at some of these biggest tournaments in the world, it's fantastic. And it gave me a community, gave me a new career.
Yeah.
It gave me an outlet to be able to come up here on a Monday afternoon and do an episode of
little purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
And being able to share for others.
Teaching my biggest reward, my biggest challenge was being the instructor for the kids class. But now my biggest reward is being the instructor for the kids class.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Every day. I'm looking forward to class today.
That's
For
awesome.
a while on the weekends, I'll candy it up. You know what I mean? So, but I guess that became a lot better when they saw me as their instructor, not just who's this guy trying to be Sensei Tyler. So when I got the respect of the kids, they're 5, getting respect from five kids in the 5 years and 8 years old, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
That's a challenge. But when they sit there and listen and they shut up for the most part and do what they're supposed to do, you're like, wow,
I did it.
it's good. Like, how did I do, Sensei Brian? I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Or I love the kid that make do 20 burpees. I'm sure he's gonna do some burpees today. I love
But I
that
still
kid.
love them.
I
Yeah.
love them all. They're amazing, and what they get from the program is what I get from the program.
Yeah.
Confident kid can do anything. I tell these parents, we help to teach your kids self-defense, exercise, discipline, confidence. A confident kid could do anything. Anyone with confidence
Yeah.
could do anything. That's the biggest difference between my drug addiction when I needed those drugs to do stuff like this versus now.
Because you weren't confident. It
I
was the
wasn't
drug
confident.
that made you
Yeah, it was
confident.
the drug
Or
that
you
made me confident.
thought.
Yeah.
You thought it was the drug.
Now
but
it's-
it's inside you the whole time.
Now it's just wanting to come do this, being who I am. I was telling, Mrs. Fritz.
Yeah.
I saw her at the mall on Saturday, and I was just talking to her. We were discussing some other people, and I was just like, who you see on my videos and you can speak to this because you see me on both sides. I just want to be the person that I am. I'm not fake on my reviews. I'm not fake when I go to these festivals. I'm probably a little bit laid back when I go to these festivals, you know what I mean? So I try to be the same person I am all the time. It's important. It's important. Being a fake person is not what God wants you to be.
No, because you're
wearing that mask.
Who are you being fake?
Yeah.
You're being fake to yourself. You know, and everybody else. You think that you got it all together. Even probably when you were doing the drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
You thought you had it
I
all
thought
together.
I was. Here I am, 170, looking like I'm Skeletor, thinking I'm looking great.
And
Like,
people are looking at you on the outside
look at me
going,
like,
"Oh,
look-
you're a wreck," you know.
Yeah,
But you're
it's-
thinking everybody, "Oh yeah, you're wonderful, you're fantastic, you're in your own mind," but everybody else knows
Embarrassing
what's going
myself
on.
and embarrassing my family, but those days are no more.
That's awesome.
Those days are no more.
That's great.
Yeah, I used to embarrass myself a lot. So
Now you just embarrass yourself if you make a bad pizza review or something.
Exactly.
You know,
I have to laugh at it. It's great. People call me Bozo and call me Timu Portnoy. It's great. Whatever you want, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you need to
Whatever
make yourself feel better.
Whatever makes you
Right in.
feel better. Even some of my friends, don't make stupid comments, but I know what the mask look like. You know what I mean? I play the game a lot with people. You know what I mean by that? You got to play the game a lot with people.
Yeah.
You know, so it is what it is. But overall, you ask me where I am now. I feel like I'm metamorphosing into something else. That's what over the last couple of years, more meaning in my life, more avenues to look down, and more things to look like. Like my food fight stuff is getting. I feel like it's getting a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
And more opportunities are coming every day, and I'm just blessed to be able to keep doing that. And that's why keeping it positive is the way to go. Also, my new pizza ranking system with the belt levels for jiu-jitsu.
Oh, is
There's
that right?
always room for improvement.
I heard you say that
yeah.
on your last one. You're like,
There's-
what purple?
Triple
thing
belt.
is?
There's
He's like-
always room. There's always room for improvement when
Yeah.
it comes to So now I feel good with that now.
Always with this, even when we started this, I knew what I wanted, but it's hard to articulate.
Mhm.
So I knew I wanted something, and Gail said to me the other day, she goes, you ramble in the beginning trying to explain to people on every episode what the episode's about. So she's like, cut it down, figure out, just give me a one-sentence delivery.
Perfect.
My
Yes.
one-sentence delivery is what I said today. This is a place for people to come to find purpose and meaning based off of
Mhm.
other people that have maybe, because I want people to look at it to search.
Yeah.
To go, man, I'm really down on myself. Whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, I don't know what to do in my life. Oh, I'm alone. God didn't make us to be alone.
No, we need
You know?
this. We need this.
So
Around here.
I
This
want
is
it to
great.
be out there. I want people to, view that and know and see two real guys that have had real addictions
Mhm.
that have come around and built themselves up. I'll tell you what I see. I see out of you, because of your personality and all the food fight stuff, I see you being able to tie that in with your addiction and save people.
Working on it.
I tell you,
I'm working
that's
on
what I see the
Yeah.
most. So I love the fact that you sat down with me, because
I'm working
this
on
is
that.
not a food fight side of
Yeah.
people. And hopefully people will see
Yeah.
it and know that there's so much more. You're not just a pizza review guy. You're not just an MMA guy. But the pizza review or the food review and the MMA is the positive part that keeps you going and puts you in front of so many people.
Yeah. I want to start a program eventually. This like the Fight for Life program, coaching program.
Okay.
I'm a personal trainer. I've been there. I've been overweight. I've been underweight more than once. I know the simplicity of taking control of that, but 9 out of 10 people overcomplicate that stuff.
I think you said that the other day
Yeah,
when
they
you were
did.
lifting.
They
You were on a butterfly
They
machine the other day.
they
You were like,
overcomplicate it, and they overcomplicate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Life is simple. That's why God only gave us 10 commandments.
There's you can see the trees up there, but eventually, in the past, there was probably tons of more trees in front of it. You couldn't see that tree behind it. We gotta get our way out of there.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is just walk through. Right? You don't have to take them out of the ground and we gotta build a bridge up to the tree and we gotta do this, we gotta do that. No, just walk there.
Go around your
Just
obstacle.
go around there and find your way there. So I say a prayer every night, and I always ask God. I've been saying it for over 10 years since that accident. I've been asking him. I'm not going to share the whole thing because it's personal, but the one part is always the best part in my eyes. Let me continue to walk down the path that you laid out for me, and help me find the ways back from all my wrong turns. Because I know I'm gonna make some more wrong turns.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna make some more wrong turns. I do every day.
Yep. You just got to make sure you get back on the path.
Yeah, because my old habits, they'll creep up. My addictions will creep up, whether it's, sneakers or looking jackets. I just bought 3 bomber jackets the other day. They're all going to go back when I get them in the mail. Because there's no need for them, And it's just like, I get that way sometimes. I recognize it. Cleaning, I can get that way. Opposite of that, you know what I mean? Like, my house will be spotless, but the one closet, all the junk will be.
That's where you put everything.
Like, I open up, like, why do I live this way? So it's just a lot of things creep up all the time, but I continue to work and make myself better every day. But I'm not perfect, and you don't have to be.
No, I think when you say about cleaning, I used to say there was a thing about God. He's outside your house, and you got the big bay window in the front of the house where everybody can see.
Yeah,
they see your big screen TV, they see your beautiful furniture, see everything, but they don't see that closet that's dirty inside. And God wants to come in. He's knocking at the door, and he wants to come in, but you don't let him in because you're like, what about that closet? Mm-hmm. God doesn't care about that closet.
Yeah,
he just wants you to open the door, let him in.
Yeah,
he'll work on that closet with you. He'll help you clean that closet up too. Don't just show him the big picture window with all the nice fun stuff, the plastic on the furniture, and everything else. Let him in and let him make the changes.
I mentioned earlier today, we got on the air before the air, was like, about my recovery. I worry about people who think about me. I shouldn't be. The only person that I believe that we should worry about, people that think about us, are the ones that talk to us every day. The ones that call us up and say, hey, Brian, how you doing today? Hey, pal, what's going on? How was your weekend? Stuff like that. Not the ones that you don't talk to. No, I have friends that I could call up today that I haven't talked to in years and be like brothers.
Yeah, and that's a nice part. Yeah,
that's different because they're the same way. But they're not the ones that
are shooting their mouth off about you.
Pretend to be your friends and behind your back making stupid comments. You know what I mean? And like, I have people like that in my life. I know I do.
Yeah.
And when I see them, I'm personal, I'm friendly with them.
You know where they stand.
If they call me, I'd probably help them out. I don't know if it would be the same way around, but I know I've learned who these people were. They always say your friends are going to be your least supporters, and the strangers will be your biggest supporters, especially with the online stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The online stuff, the end of the world, no, but it's important. It's a big part of my life. It's a big part of the world now. There's no way, we're not going back.
You can't get away around it.
But I keep my eye on these. I know what I'm looking at.
It's the same. Yeah. We have to coexist with everybody around us, and you're not always going to meet eye to eye.
Right.
But you got to be able to still function. Right. The whole part of on a whole different. We can go on a whole different episode with these people that are killing each other and fighting, and just terrible anger. It's like, dude, listen, I can still disagree with you and eat at the same restaurant with you. Hang out. Yeah, that's it. We talk about getting back on the path. That's why they say there's a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell. Mm-hmm. That highway to hell is paved and big and wide, 4 lanes, man. Everybody going fast.
Been on there more than once.
But that stairway to heaven is narrow, and you got to get back onto it. Taking that turn off, but making sure you go back on. I always say too, whether you use it as an umbrella idea or a pyramid, is God's at the top, and everything else is then. It's God, then it's you. If you're in a relationship, it's your wife or your girlfriend. After that, if you got kids, then it's them. Then it's your job. It's everything in perspective. But if you don't, it's the whole mask. I said earlier, put your mask on first before you help somebody else out. If God's not first, or you put God anywhere else, I made a good one too. It was about a pyramid, and if you took the top off, that's God, and you try to put him anywhere else in the pyramid, a pyramid don't sit too well. It's gonna rock. It's gonna move. It's not. But you put him at the top, and you're always striving to get there. Can't be any better than that.
That's a good way to finish. I have a final thought on that. I was watching the video, and I was feeling down a month or so ago. Like, where's my life going? All this kind of stuff. Things might look great, but like you're not sitting. You don't see the closet sometimes, like you're saying, right? And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, I just lost my train of thought.
It was a month ago. Come on.
Yeah. So I was sitting there watching this video, and it's like, if you made all this progress and then you messed up, you don't go back down. All that progress was still made.
Yeah.
Little roadblock, and we just keep on building back up. You don't lose all your experience and all your progression just because you made a mistake. But I was at the point where I thought that, oh my God, I'm 44. I got no retirement. I got no this. I got no that. Maybe these people are right. But in reality of it, and anyone that's listening, maybe they'll get something from this. I started my life over financially twice in my 35 when I got in trouble. My defense cost me everything. I didn't have that much to begin with, but everything was gone. I had to restart everything from ground. One thing, my mother, God bless her for bringing me into her house at 35 years old. And then again, when I was engaged, we were living together, took this job at the gym, was more of a, maybe a 2-income house kind of job until I started getting farther along with it and building up more clients, stuff like that, to be by myself, to having to leave. And here I am, 40, sure to get ready to turn 43. And it's like, whoa, I literally have the clothes on my back in a Honda that's leased. That's what I left that apartment with to go stay at my buddy's place while I looked for an apartment. Was I in the position to find an apartment? Yes. Thank God for that. But that was also going to cost me an arm and a leg. And I have been recovering ever since that. And then when I decided to bring the podcast into my kitchen, that cost me my couple bucks. And then I decided to not do it there anymore. Then I had to reinvest at Conversion Works. So I had to start cutting checks. I want to keep it alive. I'm like, I regret not keeping it alive to see where it could go if I quit right now. And that took savings, stuff like that. But now me and Conversion Works Media, we're partners, and we split everything. It's perfect. It's amazing. It wouldn't have got there if I didn't believe in that progression was already there. I just heard that last month, but the whole time I was doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
thinking
quit
you
yet.
were falling
I
back.
didn't
You
want
weren't
to quit
falling
yet.
back. You were just on pause.
If it's worth it, if it's really worth it, you got to keep doing it. Because I quit a lot of stuff in my life. I didn't quit the podcast yet, or the food fight stuff yet, or jiu-jitsu. And those are the two things that have been keeping me
most
fueled
positive
right now.
going.
Yes.
Yeah. The Lord says that He'll take care of it. If He takes care of the little sparrow out there in the middle of the winter with no food, and He's still able to keep him alive, why wouldn't He think much more of us?
Yeah. You see that video I posted last week with the bird?
No.
The addiction bird?
No.
I'll show you afterward. The copyright.
Oh wait, no, I did. Yeah, because he flies high.
It's the best illustration.
Yeah, and
because
then
he
dies
runs
off.
for it, gets the high. He's in the air for what seems like an eternity.
Yeah.
He takes it again. He's in the air for what's just a little less, and then a little less.
And then he can't even jump.
The best
afterwards.
part the part that gets me, and I'll stop yapping, because I gotta go to work, is when he fell for the first time, and he had dirt on his butt.
Yeah.
And he gets up, and pushes it off. He's like, "Oh, you have a mess." Then he stopped doing that.
Yeah. Stop getting the dirt on.
He stopped caring about the way he looked, the way he was doing to himself, and I got to that point.
Well, and that was the part probably about the masks, like I said.
Yeah.
You didn't see it.
Yeah.
You stopped caring, but everybody else
stopped caring, and then when I got myself together, people make comments. I'm like, listen, I used to not care about what I looked like. Now I do.
Yeah.
Now I care if my hair looks nice, if my beard
You
looks
got nice hair. You got nice
I
beard.
appreciate
I mean, I'm
that.
a little jealous,
Yeah.
but
You have a nice beard if you grow it.
I do.
But I take care of myself now because I didn't take care of myself for a long time, and no one should ever apologize for that.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's awesome, Brian. Listen, I know you got to go, and I appreciate you coming. And one thing I do tell people is that every time we get done talking like this, no, not food. Every time we talk to somebody, I'd like to give something to somebody so that they can strengthen, and that people that are watching. So if somebody comments or says something, and I think this is a perfect gift to go, because it deals with it's called 40/40, and it's to read through the Book of John. All right, and it comes with a T-shirt. It has it gives you a whole walkthrough of the Book of John. It gives you a medal that I don't know how to open this thing. I knew it. Opened it the other day.
There you go. Oh, nice.
So it's a hard metal, and gives you a walkthrough of the Book of John. Starts you, and you're supposed to walk a mile and read through the chapters, and you get yourself a prize, and then you just work your way through the rest of the Bible and stuff like that. So this is something that and I'm going to give this to Brian, because I think that it's worth it to give it to him. It's a T-shirt, like I said, it's 40/40. It's a challenge to read through the Book of John.
Well,
and then anybody who really liked this or hit you guys the right way, like, comment, subscribe, and I will put it on a randomizer, pick somebody else out, and send this away to them too. So thanks for watching, Brian. Thank you for being here, buddy.
Great talk.
All
I
right.
feel a lot better.
Good. I'm glad you do.
I do.
Everybody have a great day. Love y'all. See ya.
I appreciate it.